You are now listening to the GridIRON Beat podcast.
Anyway, we're back. It's been a while. We are a little late, right? I mean, just a smidge. I think we're 1 week late. We had to basically adjust our schedules. We have a new day. We record Thursday evenings, and podcast goes up late afternoon Fridays.
You guys have all weekend to listen to it.
Yeah, you can digest basically all of our great insights for a couple days. And basically go over, maybe change up your rosters instead or something, because, I mean...
Perhaps.
I think...
Gotham over there.
You have this irrational hate for Gotham. I don't understand.
FTP lot.
I don't understand why. What did they do?
I don't know.
Like, is it just that they're... I mean, they're not even divisional foes with Las Vegas anymore. Like, well, one of them is. I don't understand.
I just hate this luck guy. In my PC.
This is why you can't be a real journalist, because you're unabashedly biased.
Why does this man keep changing his name every year?
He keeps the FTP part.
Yeah, but he changes it. He can't look at himself in the mirror. He can't stand himself. The losses hurt him.
It's one loss, man. It's opening season.
The losses every year he changes though. He loses in the playoffs, changes next year. Just as soon as he's a sore loser.
I guess.
He needs to grow up. Grow up, man.
I don't know.
There are more important things than fantasy football.
No, there's not.
Or are there?
No.
Read my article to find out.
That article, I guess, if you want to call it that. By the way, I have no association with that, and I don't agree with the rankings.
Ariel. These were done objectively. Objectively as possible.
I think these rankings are generic. These remind me of those like Bleacher Report little fan written article rankings from like freelance writers, people who aren't even actually signed to Bleacher Report, but
I'm not even signed, man. I'm trying to get paid, but this guy has no money. fucking Ariel.
You know, the GridIRON Beat magazine is free. Like, I pay for all this myself. I didn't get a credential. The commissioner doesn't let me go in and talk to anybody.
Sponsored? Did you get back on that sponsorship from Condom Depot? Did they get back to us?
No one wants to sponsor this podcast or anything
not
either.
Not even Condom Depot?
No, because you're always saying stupid stuff on here.
The Carpenter Association?
We can't get any sponsors, man. No one wants to sponsor us except for like right-wing nuts and conspiracy theorists. And
they are the best.
Just, all kinds of women-hating organizations. And
That's probably me. Are you describing me?
Yes, that's exactly why.
We don't hate women.
I have to pay for all this.
We just disrespect them.
Anyway, well, we're back. We'll be here. Podcast will go up every Friday afternoon for the foreseeable future, right? I mean, we don't plan on going anywhere. We're going to try and get it in every week.
That's what she said.
We're going to try and make sure the postseason we have. We'll do something special.
We might stop doing post.
Well, we'll do special themed episodes.
Yeah, postseason. We kind of stopped last year in the postseason.
It got a little hectic again at the end. We wanted to be closer to the action, so we were kind of there at the games, and we kind of didn't. We forgot to not be fans.
Las Vegas was at the game. Wildlings was at the show, you know.
It's Wildlings, man. It's Wildlings.
I'm sorry for those people that didn't make it, you know. Fuck you guys.
Unbelievable.
What you guys get?
That sound is him with his beer, his drink.
Go home. Go home.
All right, well, let's get into it. Last week was the opening week. It's crazy. We have 2 new debuting teams.
Yes.
Right? Tom Norman, coach, general manager. Owner is Jim Blanchard. Dark horse. I mean, the name's fitting, right? He came out of nowhere. highly touted, but with the armchair quarterback league, it's not the biggest league in the fantasy football world, but he comes from a respectable background, and he did pretty good. He kept pace with the Super Bowl runner-ups. I will say I didn't think that was the best Grizzly Bears that we're going to see for the season, but keep in mind, if you recall from the draft review episode that I did, we weren't high on the Grizzly Bears, and not much has changed really. I think they have great receivers. I think they have a solid defense. I think their tight end position is okay, but the backfield is gonna be a hindrance for sure. And it showed. I think they ultimately got killed by the tight end position. Jimmy Graham didn't do shit for him, and had they put in Trey Burton, nothing would have changed. So a lot of that was self-inflicted, but I think still Dark Horse, they did a pretty good job.
Yeah,
first game.
They were definitely hyped up. We ranked them pretty high in our rankings. Number 5. These guys have a lot of potential, and we were impressed by what we saw. We're here at the press.
At the press.
At the press.
Okay, all right.
At this room with the fan, the computer. Is this our official?
This basement.
Is this our official spot?
The other debuting team, one Johnny Yang and Left Out.
Yes.
Boy, they came out
team,
slugging and just spanking Team Shutdown, right?
Yes.
They shut down Shuzang Vang's squad.
Yes, we are dubbing them the Asian kamikazes. They are
Okay,
savages.
I don't co-sign that. I have no...
We at the press.
Unbelievable. Yeah, basically, Johnny Yang had the foresight and really, honestly, the room to drop a player and pick up Le'Veon Bell's replacement, which is going to prove to pay off huge dividends as long as Le'Veon Bell is out, which could be anywhere from another week to maybe a few weeks, actually.
He might not even be on the Steelers roster.
I mean,
I might trade him.
I don't think it's going to get to that point, but
I'd trade him.
as long as Le'Veon Bell's not there, it's pretty obvious James Conner can essentially do any and everything that he does, basically. I would never have thought that he could also catch in addition to rushing.
We saw him in the preseason. He did really well.
He didn't show that last season, though.
No.
He didn't catch.
But that's what I'm saying. He's always looked good. I didn't think he could actually do it in a real game. Not a preseason game. But he did it. He did it.
The numbers are staggering. And keep in mind, he doesn't even need him. He has Jay Ajayi already. He has Todd Gurley already. Derrick Henry did not do great, and that would have hurt him. But I think that was a bad week for Tennessee, and that
was a weird game. That was a weird game.
There was
like
delays.
8-10 hours. Lewis kind of stole.
Marcus Mariota got hurt right away.
That guy's always getting hurt.
I mean, I think Derrick Henry's going to be fine, which just proves my point that at the backfield he is just probably the deepest team. As far as shutdown goes, I didn't think he had a bad game either. I think he got outscored by a crazy margin that, if he had played against any other team, he probably still would have he probably would have won a couple games, actually. He scored 116 points. That's respectable. Great output from Alex Smith, Jordan Howard. Alex Collins didn't do particularly well, but everyone else did their job. Baltimore defense did their job. Allen Robinson, Kyle Rudolph.
Le'Veon comes back. He's going to...
Yeah, I mean, if Le'Veon's back, plug him back into the lineup, and I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be fine without him, which I think is controversial to say, but I'm assuming Le'Veon's going to be back. So, team shutdown, he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
The press rank him currently number 11. Just previous year's performances. This last performance was good, but
this is why I don't agree with your
rankings.
But
win a game. Let's see
So that was the two debuting teams. Division matchups. There was the Bear Island Wildlings and the Papi Chulos. This was the biggest blowout of the week.
Do you know if the Wildlings wore lube to that beatdown?
What?
Did they wear lube for that ass beating? Or no?
I
Bring some lube next time.
I guess.
Bring some lube for that shellacking, for that raping.
Yeah, they cannot seem to find the answer. I mean, for Team Razor,
this has been going on for years.
What's so funny is that the Team Razor Papichulo seems to find like the most success against the Wildlings always, like every season, and they don't particularly show this on a consistent basis. But they just always win against the Wildlings. Some teams, when they match up with other teams, they match up in such a way that they don't have a problem kind of just bringing out all the deficiencies in the opposing team. And the Papichulos, they just win. They just win point blank. And not only did they win the matchup, they ended up winning the weekly pot for week number 1. $25 pot. The great commissioner, Mitchell Goodell, has raised the weekly awards by $5 every week, so it's $25 now. As we know, it's themed, so week 2 is going to be different. But for week 1, it was just biggest blowout, and it was pretty obvious who the winner was there. Ramon Rubalcaba and Papichulos, they did their job. Really crazy outputs all across. Drew Brees, 40 points. Joe Mixon, 25 points. Chris Thompson, 24 points. Antonio Brown, 24 points. I'm getting out of breath just naming all that. Keenan Allen, 24 points. Austin Safarian-Jenkins laid an egg. Jamal Williams sucked as expected. Jacksonville Jaguars defense did their job. Goskowski got 9 points. There was nothing the Wildlings could do. They actually had a good game, too. Doug Baldwin actually went out, and they still scored 124 points, but that just was not enough to overcome. So
is Baldwin hurt? Yes.
Baldwin's going to be out, too, I believe. So we'll have to review that. Also, Fresno, California, FTP, and
Let me
Las
just
Vegas.
say something. We ranked Papichulo as the second highest ranked team. That beatdown was just too impressive, guys. You buy some stock in this guy. Buy some stock. It was just too impressive. It was too impressive.
The Super Bowl, the reigning champs, went head-to-head with Fresno,
rival,
California, FTP. I mean, well, let's get the...
Well, maybe they're not nemesis. They're just a hatred.
I mean...
A very one-sided hatred.
Yes, that's exactly what I was
saying.
saying. It's one-sided.
Could be called a hater.
It is certainly one-sided.
Definition of hating.
Close game. Wasn't the greatest performance from either.
No.
It was solid. I think they can do better. The defense for Las Vegas definitely sucked.
God.
It was horrible.
Tell me about it.
It was wretched.
He was crying.
Nearly lost the game for them. Russell Wilson went off with no O-line, as usual.
Always goes off.
Dalvin Cook did pretty good. Not as good as you would have thought against the San Francisco 49ers defense. Odell Beckham, I was very surprised Odell Beckham actually got as much as he did against Jalen Ramsey.
He always gets his points, though.
Apparently so. I guess so.
He's just a points machine.
I wouldn't have thought.
Draft this man. Draft this guy.
Saquon Barkley literally had nothing until the fourth quarter. How crazy is that? He reminds me of Leonard Fournette from last year, which is...
That's... Exactly.
It's just basically where he keeps hitting a wall until something breaks. Which is scary as you're watching a game, really, I would imagine, because you just never know when it's going to happen. But apparently Saquon is bulletproof.
He is.
Even against Jacksonville's defense.
He is, I told everybody.
Andrew Luck appears to be back. That's good news. Doesn't appear like his shoulder's bothering him anymore. Juju Smith-Schuster. As long as Antonio Brown gets double looks, Juju is going to eventually break through. He's basically a better version of Martavis Bryant at this point.
He's good.
And younger, and I expect that to continue.
Did you say sexier too?
No, he's just as ugly.
Juju,
I'm just
that
kidding.
Is not the Associated Press's opinion.
Oh, fuck, your racist tirades on there. Anyway, solid performance. I'm not too high on Fresno this year. I think FTP's draft was so-so, but I think, they have Odell, and they have some playmakers that are always going to make them dangerous. But this is kind of what I expected. I think they're going to be middle of the pack this season. I also think Las Vegas is going to be middle of the pack this season.
Oh, ouch.
But We'll see. It's week 1. Vegas came out on top. Saco Violators and Gotham in probably a very, I would say, the ugliest game of the week. It wasn't great. It was sloppy from both sides. Sacto, for all the talk in the off-season and the hype and, basically kind of
he hypes himself up.
He is very flamboyant, and I love it. I love Matt Rios. He has supreme confidence in his team.
We rate this man number 4 just because he hyped himself up so much. We just bought it. We didn't know what else.
He carries himself like a champion because he won the first year, and he disappeared. And he wants, he said all off season, you're gonna see that last year was a fluke, and I'm gonna return to form. Why? That's yet to happen. This wasn't the greatest performance, but I understand why. The backfield is not there yet. I think it's going to get there, but oh boy, he's going to have to make it through the first quarter because Mark Ingram on suspension. That is not over until week 4, I believe. Week 4 or week 5. That's going to be a big boost to his offense for sure because right now he has like Devonta Freeman and nothing else. He has Ty Montgomery. That is not helping him. But the wide receiver core is impressive. He is number 2 at the tight end position. I like his quarterbacks. Solid defenses. He'll be fine. I don't think this was great. The kicker. I guess the kicker.
Kickers are people too.
Kickers don't matter.
Kickers,
they're not,
yes, they do.
They don't have feelings.
When they win you a game, or
Dan Bailey's job is gone.
I bet they miss him, Cowboys fans.
I guess. I suppose. That just goes to show you how little people care about kickers. But anyway.
They got rid of Janikowski, too.
Anyway, it was a underwhelming performance from Sack, though. I think he'll improve. I'm very worried about Gotham.
We all are worried about Gotham.
No, well, I only say that because I think Leonard Fournette, he had a bad game for sure. That was expected. But he also looked like he got banged up in the game. They're trying to downplay it, but I've heard behind the scenes that he might not even play this upcoming week. That's going to be a big problem because you don't want LaShawn McCoy to be your RB1.
Not this year.
I mean, not anymore.
Last year, yes. The years before that, yes.
And after that, it's a steep drop-off. I mean, Tevin Coleman is pretty good, but... And Isaiah Crowell, he's going to have boom and bust schemes every other week this season.
Has, yeah.
That's what he is. That's how it's always going to be. His saving grace is his receivers. I think all of them have such a high ceiling that he can swing a matchup. But wow, is he not learning from Matthew Stafford's past mistakes? Matthew Stafford is the reason why he lost this game.
Who had the home field advantage? Was this Kings?
Gotham. This was at home. Sacto went on the road to Gotham.
Oh, shit.
And this is what I'm saying. Matthew Stafford gave the game away at home.
So this would have been an 88. So he would have had 88 points of no home field advantage. That would have been one of the lowest scoring games in all of history.
It was close. I mean, it was close, but the home field advantage didn't really help. Stafford threw 4 interceptions. I mean, that's 8 points you lose because of that. That's what I'm saying. He would have won the game if it wasn't for Matthew Stafford, which put a pin in that because we're going to have to address that in the projections when it comes up. But anyway, decent game, not great. The Grizzly Bears and Dark Horse recovered. Apologies. Final game was America's Game of the Week. It lived up to the hype, I thought. Great performance from Team Karma, baby. Great performance from Team Reyes. Literally came down to the wire, right? A pick 6 sealed the damn deal.
Team Reyes.
It was Team Reyes. He just continues to pull this shit out every single.
This man.
It's always dramatic with him, isn't it?
We gave him the number 3 ranking. Very controversial, but he was hyped up from last season.
No one cares about these rankings.
He was hyped up this season by my associate as well. He just has so much hype. Buy some stock in him.
I just love that it's always dramatic. Like the games are always like.
He should have lost. I'm like, he's gonna lose. He's gonna lose.
Aaron Rodgers puts up 30 points for Karma, baby. Tom Brady puts up 27. Right? Alvin Kamara puts up a whopping 42 points. Michael Thomas puts up 38 for Team
Yes.
Reyes.
Yes.
Christian McCaffrey puts up 13. Ezekiel Elliott puts up 16.
Close.
Aaron Cooper lays an 8. Amari Cooper,
yeah.
apologies. Does nothing for Team Karma, baby. Michael Gallup does nothing for Team Reyes.
Yeah.
Bill Maher. Is it Bill Maher, or am I just saying Bill Maher?
The comedian?
Not Dan Bailey. He actually missed his one and only field goal attempt. But then the Los Angeles Chargers went negative.
It's Brett Maher, not Bill Maher.
I mean, literally, like, you can just keep going back and forth and look at how they matched up. It was so even.
The defense was the deciding
The defense was ultimately what decided it. It was a close game all the way until the end. I'm still high on Team Karma, baby. I thought they, if they just can figure out I don't know what's going to happen with Amari Cooper. I mean, can we call him a bust already?
Not yet.
Are you not ready to declare he's a bust?
Not yet.
I've been calling him a bust since last year, man.
He's from Alabama, man. You know how we feel about Alabama players.
He should have shown some signs of, like, life already in this offense with Derek Carr.
Yes, but I mean, it was a tough game.
Sammy Watkins didn't do anything, so I don't know if he's going to replace Amari Cooper eventually with him. But Kenny Stills,
he still has Crabtree. Crabtree's decent.
No, yeah, Jarvis Landry is probably going to end up doing big numbers this year. So I'm not too worried. But
Cole's on there. Karma Baby's fine, but
the fact of the matter is, he's just so impressive at the running back position.
He has a lot of depth. I see why my associate ranks him so high. Unfortunately, we can't rank him higher than number 9. He win some games, man. Then we'll talk about you. Win some games. Do something with your life.
That great performance from both Team Karma, baby, and Team Reyes.
Solid. Team Reyes walks the victor. We see a bright future for Reyes. At least for now. Depends on the hype. We'll see how he does this week.
So that was week 1. We kind of have. There's not too much storylines brewing right now. Everything is kind of still. We're still kind of figuring out who's what. Yeah. Who's gonna end up? What the divisions are gonna look like.
Who the new luck is? Who's the new luck? Is it luck again? No.
Well, I think we need to stop with that. That's never going to happen again. Like,
it was so.
Sebastian Perez and the season he had last year.
That was insane.
He can rest assured no one will ever come close to pulling that off again. That was truly incredible, which just makes the ending more heartbreaking.
Oh yeah, that's why he changed his name.
But I mean,
that's why.
Especially with two new players in the league, like, we don't know. Keep in mind, we lost a playoff team, but we're acquiring 2 new players. But we don't know where they're going to fit in. They both won, but, I mean, maybe their division's the weakest division. We don't know. Maybe Team Grizzly Bear, maybe they're going to fall off. We don't know.
By week 5, this will all be shaped up.
Yeah. I will say the Gutierrez merger is a big, fat question mark right now. I'm not really... I see a lot of people kind of already pushing the panic button. I think people need to chill on that. I don't think we have any reason to do that yet. I think it's pretty obvious that this team was crafted in the vision of Ben Gutierrez. It seems obvious to me they are wide receiver heavy and they like speed.
You see Tyreek Hill?
I mean, that's what it is. But I do think that Joey Gutierrez is probably the one with the foresight to manage any kind of in-season the general manager, the duties of a general manager. Like, I think he's handling that. I think he's paying close attention to the waiver wire. They've been shifting a lot.
Yes.
There's been a lot of activity with them, so I have a feeling that's mostly Joey Gutierrez doing that. But this is very much still Ben's team in my eyes. And with Benji's offenses, I mean, they are definitely boom and bust, but more often than not.
That's how he likes to roll.
Yeah, I mean, when it's on...
It worked for him last year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. When it's on, oh boy, you better get out the way.
When they took Tyreek Hill last year, I was like, nope, but that proved us wrong.
Same thing with Gotham, though. I'm not ready to panic with Gotham yet.
Press to panic. Where's the synthetic sound?
No, man.
Let me get this guitar.
Gotham, I'm not ready to panic yet. I still think their receivers are good. I think they have high octane receivers.
We're panicking.
What is this? What is this nonsense, man?
Panicking. We panicked. Panicking, man. It's a wrap. Go try fantasy baseball.
I'm not calling it a wrap for them yet, man.
Some people are good at different things. It doesn't matter if one thing's better than the other. But you just try baseball. Basketball, maybe. Soccer? Fantasy soccer? Is that fantasy lacrosse?
Like I said, I think their wide receivers are talented. They're underrated. They have high ceiling potential.
Too much underrated. We have to underrate them worse.
Not only that, though, I
Negative.
question whether the reach, which features Gotham, Las Vegas, and Sacco.
Some of the most hyped teams.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're very hyped, but Sacco's the only highly ranked team of the bunch. And we've seen even he is a victim to shoddy performances every now and then. It could be the case. This is the most competitive division, and the numbers end up looking less than stellar compared to other divisions. Basically, what I'm saying is this could be the South all over again.
Oh, not again.
And
members from the South.
Well, it would make sense,
Where's
right?
Reyes out? Shout out Reyes.
In other words, Gotham, don't panic. It's week 1. Don't go do no crazy trades.
I would panic.
Don't go drop into hole. Just fix your quarterback position, man. Just shore that shit up, because boy, is that killing you. But other than that, yeah. That's, pretty much everything else. We just got to wait and see, right? Wildlings, they're going to be tricky, right? They have another key injury. So in the offseason, they lost just before the first week. They lost their number 2 running back, Jerick McKinnon. Was supposed to be a huge part of the offense. That's gone. Week 1, in the middle of the game, in the middle of the first quarter, I believe, Doug Baldwin goes down.
Ouch.
Hurts his other knee. So he had said in the offseason he had a knee thing. This is the other knee.
Get some tape, man. Good luck.
Boy, can they not catch a break. They have depth. They're going to have to show that their depth can pull this off. It's going to be a tough week. I think it's going to be a long season for Bear Island. I don't know if this is going to end them, but it's going to be a struggle the whole year now.
Somehow they always trade really well. I don't know how they do it. Or they pay people.
I've heard it through the grapevine with other assistant GMs and stuff. They've been working the phone for a few days now to no avail.
Sure.
Because GMs, they know the deal. They'd rather them sink than to basically aid them in any way. So I think we're going to need to see some more switch-ups, some more injuries, some more players underperforming before we start seeing any radical trades or anything like that. But yeah, Bear Island, I don't know. It's going to be a recurring thing. But let's move on to projections, man. This week's going to be interesting.
Before we do that, is there teams you think should be panicking? Who do you think should be
It's so early to say.
I think Luck should be panicking, and I think Gotham should be panicking.
Look, I'll say this. I haven't changed my tune on the teams that I think are not going to be as great as they were last year. I'm not high on Team Grizzly Bears. I don't think that they have great depth. And nor do I think they can survive injury to their key positions. FTP, Fresno FTP, this is not going to be the same team. The draft wasn't good. We've seen it. There was a lot of capital invested in the receivers that they got. Outside of Odell, there's no one there. So if anything happens to Odell, which has happened every single season since he's been in football, he's never played a full season before. If anything happens, the drop-off is going to be steep. I said before, we should not have any faith in Jordy Nelson. Doesn't matter if Gruden's there. Doesn't matter if they're with the Raiders. The change of scenery is not going to do anything.
Anybody didn't want him.
And quite frankly, I don't think he's that strong at even the tight end position either. So, middle of the pack, I'm not going to say to panic yet, but just know that these guys might not be the prime time teams this season. Sacto, I expect a bounce back season. I don't know how high it's going to be, but I wouldn't panic from this first week. It was a sloppy game. He's missing a key player. That's how it's going to be. So he just has to survive the first quarter. I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't panic on anyone just yet. The closest team is going to be Bear Island. They lost two
they should be
key
sweating,
players. They should be sweating. Yeah, it's going to be very, very scary.
Hot in that kitchen.
Yeah, I mean, these are high draft capital players.
Will we see Julius Payne again? Perhaps.
I think he's in Canadian Football League.
Ah.
He got a job. He's a head coach somewhere else in another league.
Might have to hire him.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's the closest team. Otherwise, week 1, everybody chill. Like, just look out for the new guys too, man. I'm really excited for the new guys.
I'm high on some people.
I'm high on. I'm pretty high on quite a bit of them.
I'm high on left out.
Okay, let's move into the projections. Interesting matchups this week. So we'll leave America's Game of the Week for last. We always do that. That's tradition. But let's start with Sacto Violators and Bear Island Wildlings. The Rio Spo. What is this, like Rio Spo 4 or 5 or some shit?
Is it a split or does the older bro Rio's brother? I think it's like 3-1?
I think it's Rios. The little Rios has the number by 1.
Oh, it's an interesting bowl.
We can look it up.
Don't you know? Shouldn't
I
you know?
I don't know all this by heart.
I
man.
know the older brother would not. He knows. He seems to know.
Matt Rios, yeah,
Yes,
I
he
guess.
seems to know.
Okay.
Call him. Matt, is that you?
Do you want to go with your projections first, or do you want me to
do yours and then I'll give my input.
Okay. All right. So, this is if you go off of ESPN's rankings, and certainly our commissioner and our league, they have their own sponsored rankings. Take that with a grain of salt. I personally don't necessarily agree with those 100%. I've spoken out against them. For the people who are accusing me of being a state-run journalist, I do not work for the GTFFL. I am my own separate freelance. The GridIRON beat is separate from that. The GridIRON print is separate from the league.
The Associated Press is for sale, though. We are for sale.
Our league's rankings are saying that Sacto Violators are going to stomp the Bear Island Wildlings. Like it's gonna be a one-sided beatdown. I'm saying it's a push this week, meaning that it's gonna be 50-50. I don't know for sure. In fact, I honestly I don't know who to pick. It's close to me. I think it's still close. I think that's with great matchups for Sacto Violators, but I think there's going to be a lot of great matchups for the Bear Island Wildlings as well. I like Kirk Cousins in Green Bay. I think Green Bay is going to get assaulted by the Minnesota Vikings offense. I think Kirk Cousins is going to be a big reason why. Mitchell Trubisky kind of pretty much handled Green Bay the whole first half, and they kind of took care of business in the second half, but Kirk Cousins is going to slice them up. So I expect a big game from Captain Kirk. David Johnson worries me a little bit going against the Rams defense, but I also am a little worried about how the Rams defense looked in the first half against the Raiders.
I think they were, a lot of the starters I know didn't start in the preseason.
Right.
I thought they were just warming up. Second half, I think we saw what they are.
It took 3 quarters,
yeah,
though.
we saw what they
I worry that they're going to be slow starters because of that, though. Like, for the first quarter of the season, like, every game is going to be kind of like that, in that vein, where it takes a while for the chemistry to develop. Once it comes on, like Aaron Donald and Dominic Sue and, the defensive backs, like, obviously, you're not going to see the Cardinals passing on them. But David Johnson, I think, because of PPR, because he's essentially going to be catching little tiny passes, I think he'll be fine. Deion Lewis against Houston, I think that's actually a pretty good matchup. Deion Lewis is the only one who did good on the whole damn Tennessee offense last week.
That might have been an outlier, though.
It's possible. Some are saying he might have took Derrick Henry's spot by default. I'm not ready to declare that. I think there's enough life and enough snaps for both of them to eat. But here in the PPR league that this is, Deion Lewis is going to eat because he's going to be catching passes. So, and I like that matchup against Houston. Randall Cobb. I expect Devontae Adams to get shadowed by Xavier Rhodes, which means that Trey Waynes will probably be covered by Randall Cobb. He's gonna fuck him up in that matchup. I very much expect Randall Cobb to win that, and it's Aaron Rodgers, so he's gonna find him. I don't know about any touchdowns for Randall Cobb, but I wouldn't. It's not gonna be Geronimo Allison. I think Randall Cobb will end up doing pretty good. Golden Tate, I also think he's going to do well in San Francisco. I don't expect Richard Sherman to cover him, actually. I think Richard is probably going to be worrying more about, believe it or not, Marvin Jones. I could be wrong. I just have a feeling that Sherman will be covering Marvin Jones, which would leave Akella Witherspoon on Golden Tate.
Doesn't Sherman only pick one side of the field, I believe?
Well, I don't know if that's the same in this scheme now.
Oh, true.
But you could very well be right. He seemed to be covering predominantly one side last week. Golden Tate does move around though. That's where I'm kind of.
Yeah.
So I like Golden Tate in this matchup. I worry about Matthew Stafford, but even if they're playing from behind, which I expect Detroit Lions to be, I think Golden Tate will end up being the benefactor. Rob Gronkowski against Jacksonville. Believe it or not, I think he'll be fine. I think because Tom Brady is Tom Brady.
Gronk's Gronk. He gets
and
points.
Gronk is Gronk.
He's not hurt.
He's still going to eat.
If he's not hurt.
Unless they hurt him in the game.
He's going to get some.
Which could happen. Sure. They could jack him up. Gronk's a big guy that he is. People tend to want to knock him around. We've seen it before. It's happened in games. Seahawks have jacked them up every time they play against each other. That could very well happen, but if not, I expect him to eat. I mean, Gronk is going to feast, as he always does. Another matchup I'm pretty excited about is Pierre Garçon. I think he's going to have a bounce back week. I expect Marquise Goodwin to either not play or not be 100%, which means Pierre Garçon is going to be called on to be the sure hands receiver. I think he'll do very well against Detroit's pass protection. So I have Bear Island Wildlings for 125. With the Sacto Violators, though, Cam Newton I think is going to have a great game against Atlanta's pass defense. It's a division matchup. I know they kind of tend to get ugly, but Cam Newton is Cam Newton. I think he'll be fine. I expect him to do well against Atlanta. Atlanta's defense did so last week. Devonta Freeman should be able to run. Conversely, they should be able to run on the Panthers' defense. I don't know about Alfred Morris. He fumbled in the goal line in this just most recent week.
Ouch.
But he did good getting to the goal line. So, I mean, hopefully he has a bounce-back game. Detroit can't stop the run. And I believe they're going to lose Ziggy Ansah for the week. So that right there is essentially their best guy at stopping the run. If he doesn't play, then I expect there to be a pretty heavy run game. Should be decent. Julio Jones can't be stopped by anybody in Carolina. No one's going to be able to stop him. He'll probably get at least a touchdown. If not, he'll definitely get big yards. He'll do good. Stephon Diggs against Green Bay, same thing. I expect him to have a great game. Travis Kelce against Pittsburgh. I expect Travis Kelce to
maybe have a bounce back.
Yeah, he didn't do great, but that's because Tyreek Hill basically was the entire offense. Yeah, no one did good outside of Tyreek Hill, right?
The quarterback. The one throwing the touchdown.
I think it'll be more. It'll be spread out more. It has to be with Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh, Travis Kelce against their linebackers, I think will be fine. Tyler Lockett. If Doug Baldwin doesn't play, which he is expected not to, then essentially the number one pass catcher is now Tyler Lockett, which is exactly why I believe Matt is moving him up in the depth. Eagles defense should do good against Tampa Bay. I don't expect any crazy shootout like there was with the Saints. So I have Sacto Violators at 125. This week I'm calling it a push. What do you think?
I'm gonna give it to the Violators. We ranked them really high. They have a lot of hype. They like to penetrate. I mean, how can you not? We have this game. I think we have a blowout here. 150 to like 90 points. Violators.
150 to 90.
Yes, 150 to 90.
Are you just like throwing out numbers now?
No,
like...
no. People kept accusing me that last year, but 150 to 90. Next.
Okay.
And Ariel, I only have 22 minutes left, so you might want to shorten your analysis.
How much time do we have?
We have 22 minutes. I have 22 minutes. You have all night.
All right, that's solid. That's good.
You can finish the rest.
We got one. We got 5 more to go. What are we on? Okay, let's do Shutdown and
the Papi Chulos.
The Papi Chulos. All right, this is another division game. The
number
what do you call it?
Team.
The Vale.
Yes.
The Vale might quite possibly be the best division in the entire league. We don't know. We'll see. I think this is going to be a blowout. I'm calling this a blowout right now. I think the Papi Chulos are going to easily take out Team Shutdown. Basically, it's not what you're thinking. It's not Le'Veon Bell's absence. I think the backfield is actually projected to do fairly well.
Now when you start Adrian Peterson, I don't know.
That's the thing.
Team Shutdown. What are you thinking over there?
I'm not high on Adrian. I just want to clarify. I'm not high on Adrian Peterson for the season as a whole. But for this particular matchup, I think he's going to do exceptionally well just because the Colts are incapable of stopping any running back. They cannot run stop. And Adrian Peterson proved that he still has some life in his old-ass legs. Not only that, they have Chris Thompson there too, so they're just going to strain the Colts defense, period. Alex Smith is the best game manager of all time. He's not going to throw any picks. Not that the Colts would be able to catch him anyway. And this seems like a surefire victory for the Washington Redskins, who looked phenomenal in the opening week. I don't know if that was just an anomaly, but Alex Smith, I think, is going to go off. When I say go off, as much as you can expect from Alex Smith, but I think he's going to do particularly well. Jordan Howard is going to do good. The Seahawks, basically because Jordan Howard is going to get a lot of opportunity. The Seahawks offense is so bad and so inept, no offensive line, that they're just going to give the Chicago Bears plenty of opportunity to get the ball back. And Jordan Howard is going to, by virtue of volume, do well. Like I said, Adrian Peterson is going to do good. I'm not sold on Larry Fitzgerald having a great game against the Rams.
This man is ancient.
It's not just that, but he's going against such great cornerbacks. But I think because it's a PPR league and because he is essentially the only guy who can actually catch the ball over there, that he'll make up for lack of yards by just getting a shitload of receptions. So I'm thinking he'll be fine in that regard. Demaryius Thomas is going to be solid against Oakland, like he always is, even with the Case Keenum quarterback throwing to him. Kyle Rudolph will have a somewhat of a bounce-back game against Green Bay. Like I said, I think Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota offense is going to go off. We've already seen Alex Collins play tonight. He had a solid game. Ravens defense, shutdown defense this could be what costs in the game if it's close. But I don't think it's going to be close anyway. So that I'm projecting 106 points for Team Shutdown. And with the Papi Chulos, basically, he's just going to edge him out because he's got way better playmakers.
X-factor players.
I mean, Antonio Brown is going to go off against Kansas City Chiefs. That's just going to happen. No one's going to be able to stop him. One, because he's Antonio Brown, and two, because it's the Kansas City Chiefs. Keenan Allen against Buffalo Bills. I mean, I would imagine Ramon is salivating at that matchup. I expect a great game there. the Jacksonville Jaguars against the Patriots. That should be interesting. Maybe not the greatest game, but Drew Brees against Cleveland Browns. I mean...
No, these are the new Browns.
These are the new Browns?
These are the ones that ties the Steelers. These are the new Browns. Watch out, guys.
I suppose, I guess.
We're buying the Browns hype.
I'm not buying the Browns hype. I'm
not
sorry.
Yet, not
I'm not
yet.
buying
All right,
it.
we'll see.
Not only that, but even if they stop Drew Brees in one quarter at the end and just garbage time, he's just going to get like 22 points anyway.
True.
So, Joe Mixon, we've seen him tonight. He had a so-so game as an RB1. It was not particularly great.
9 points is solid.
But Chris Thompson is going against the Colts, and like I said, that's a recipe for success going against the Colts defense. I actually project the Papi Chulos to have 116 points. I think they edged them out. I'll take back my blowout. It's not quite a blowout, but it's a comfortable win. What are your thoughts on the matchup?
I see this as a blowout for the Papi Chulos. Team shut down. Jordan Howard, we know what Jordan Howard is. He's a boomer bust kind of guy. Las Vegas had last year. He knows what he's talking about. Adrian Peterson, really? I don't know. 0 points there. Fitzgerald's an old man. Kyle Rudolph is ancient as well. These are like the over-the-hill players. The over-the-hill club. The Papi Chulos with the team with that Thompson, Chris Thompson, Antonio Brown, Keenan Allen. Those three guys are going to get some points. We don't have it a huge blowout with high numbers like the first week, but we see it 120 to 60 points. 60-point blowout.
What the hell kind of scores are these? I don't understand these scores. Are you just
120
like...
to 60.
Do you have any kind of algorithm or...
Yes, it's a very complex... It was developed by the people in the Big Bang.
Okay, who did you pick to win again? I just want to make sure.
Are you writing this down? We need to keep tabs for the end of the year to see who's the most correct.
So
Papi Chulo's 120, Team Shutdown 60.
Oh, so you're picking Team Shutdown.
No, Team Shutdown 60 points. Papi Chulo's 120.
What the hell? Okay. All right. Wow. All right. So we agree on all the matchups so far then.
Just not the points.
Okay. All right. Jesus Christ.
So we're tied.
Okay. Moving on to Team Karma Baby and who is it? Who's their matchup for the week? Fresno FTP.
Oh, Mr. Luck.
Mr. Luck.
Come on, man.
Why do you keep calling him that? It's FTP.
We know he knows who he is. He knows who he is. Keeps changing his name.
All right, so for this one, I'll just jump straight to my projection.
Keep your chin up.
I think Team Karma Baby wins. I think they win comfortably. I think they have way better matchups all across, with one caveat: a healthy Aaron Rodgers. We don't know for sure if Aaron Rodgers is going to even play. It's been thrown out there that he might not be playing. I think I don't know how serious the injury was. They downplay it all season long. They always do this in Green Bay. If Aaron Rodgers is as healthy as he was when he beat the Chicago Bears, then I'm assuming Karma Baby will be fine. But
there's plenty of other quarterbacks in the waiver wire as well.
That's interesting, though. They have no backup right now. So
that's what I'm saying. They can just pick one up at any time.
But are they going to do what Aaron Rodgers does?
You might get 15, 20 points.
Okay, but like FTP is not that far behind. So FTP, I have Russell Wilson to do pretty well against Chicago, not because they're going to shred Chicago's defense, but because I expect them basically to get garbage time points from getting beat up for 3.5 quarters. And Russell Wilson running around like a chicken with no head usually finds an open receiver. Usually any receiver that's just open, it happens. So I still expect Russell Wilson to get his points. Dalvin Cook against Green Bay. Everybody in Minnesota is going to do well. Lamar Miller against Tennessee. Not high on Lamar Miller. I don't particularly think too much of him, but I think very little of Tennessee's defense. So I expect them to have a good matchup. Odell Beckham Jr. against Dallas. That is a match made in heaven. He's going to feast. He's going to do well. Big game right there. I believe he's starting Jamison Crowder. I think there's a shakeup in the depth chart. I'm assuming Jamison Crowder is going to be the wide receiver too. I think the matchup against Indianapolis is a big reason why he should put him in there. I think he has a good game. I think Zach Ertz has a good game against Tampa Bay. I think Duke Johnson should be the flex against New Orleans for Cleveland. I think...
You got 3 running backs there, man.
And I think he's safe as the flex just because if Cleveland gets put behind, they're not going to be able to run the ball anyway. Duke is a pass-catching back that they can split out as a wide receiver. It makes more sense to do that. The problem is, if Aaron Rodgers is there, he's Aaron Rodgers. So he's going to get his points no matter what. Also, Alvin Kamara is going against Cleveland. Alvin Kamara is matchup proof.
This is the new Browns. Come on.
This is Alvin Kamara. Christian McCaffrey will be going against Atlanta. He's the number 1 back and a pass-catching back. He seems to actually be able to run in the middle of the tackle now, which is that's new. So expect a good performance from him. Jarvis Landry seems to be legitimate number 1.
The Saints got negative 9 points, so he's going to get some points.
He's going to get points. Kenny Stills has been he's been promoted, man. Just like we were talking about, Amari Cooper got demoted. Kenny Stills is shifted in. And it makes sense because the matchup is good. They're going against the New York Jets. He was a wide receiver
2 last season. Now it's looking like a wide receiver 1.
Yeah. I'm not really high on Peyton Barber. I don't understand what the appeal of Peyton Barber is.
Did you just skip George Kittle, the star?
Oh, we're gonna get to him. I just want to get to Peyton Barber. He's going against Philly, but apparently the rankings spit out a number that suggests I have a good matchup. I don't quite see it, but basically he should have a decent game against Philadelphia Eagles in some fashion. George Kittle. I think he's not only going to have a good game, he's going to have a great game.
Yes.
I think he's shown that he's more than capable of...
We're buying the George Kittle hype here.
I'm buying the George Kittle hype. Even with his ugly drop, would-be touchdown drop.
Couple ugly drops.
One of those was the fault of the quarterback, but there was a very blatant just dropped ball. Had he caught that, that's a touchdown. That would have completely shot up Team Karma Baby's points and probably would have won the game for him, actually. But he's confident in him. He's leaving him in there, and he should be. Chargers defense against Buffalo Bills. Last week I said the Chargers defense was going to kill the Chiefs, so I'm a little scared to declare them that they're going to kill the Bills, but it's the damn Bills, so I'm just going to say the Chargers are going to kill the Bills. I have 127 for Team Karma Baby to edge out FTP.
We here at the press, we are impressed by Aaron Rodgers, Alvin Kamara. We are impressed by McCaffrey, Jarvis Landry, Kenny Stills, George Kittle. And I think this man still has some depth. We're going to give it to Karma Baby. This isn't the same luck that we've seen before in the previous 2 seasons. I think it's going to be a down year for him. So we're going to go ahead and score this one 120 to 115. Close game. Keep your chin up, look.
Wait, who'd you pick?
Karma Baby.
Okay.
120, 115.
That's decent. That's not retarded like some of your other ones. Okay.
Karma Baby.
So we're agreeing on all these, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I picked the push for the Rios Bowl. Who did you end up declaring for that one again?
The Violators. They're going to violate now.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Did you pick the Violators?
No. I picked the push.
Oh, what the fuck?
I basically, it's a draw.
Damn.
I couldn't think of it was. I had them completely tied.
They're gonna violate, man. They get in there.
Okay, but everything else we're in agreement on.
He's bringing the lube, man.
Okay, I think. Well, I have a good feeling that we're gonna differ on this one. So let's talk Las Vegas and Gotham. Division matchup. The reach.
If you could call it a division matchup, this is a beatdown.
This is a beatdown waiting to happen. I actually have it to be really close. I think it's going to be really competitive.
No.
As these games between these two teams always are. Because they are. They're always competitive. These guys are splitting contests every season. That just happens to be that
Even
way.
with the stacked team,
They bring out the best in each other and the worst simultaneously. I love it. I have Las Vegas to edge them out, just narrowly. That's very close. The home field advantage is definitely gonna, I think, come into play here. But I have Gotham. I mean, the rankings are saying Matthew Stafford's gonna get points. I don't see it. I was very pleasantly surprised by the San Francisco defense. The fact that they were able to manufacture pressure and a pass rush without having any real edge rushers was pretty impressive. I thought Richard Sherman and the cornerbacks held up against a very, very talented Vikings offense. I don't know if Matthew Stafford's going to be able to do what Kirk Cousins did to the San Francisco 49ers. And because of that, I don't particularly think he's going to have a great game. I think Leonard Fournette,
this guy's hurt now.
If he's not 100%, then yeah, there's a big problem.
He didn't even practice. I was listening. I don't think he practiced today.
It could be precautionary. They could be protecting him. Essentially, he's the entire offense. You don't
going up against New England too.
Yeah, and even a healthy Leonard Fournette going against New England is tricky.
They're ready for him. They're ready.
I have him to have a decent game, assuming that he plays. LaShawn McCoy, I think, has a bounce-back game.
It's a wrap for this McCoy.
I think he has a bounce-back game.
Over the hill club.
Mike Evans against Philly, it's possible he gets bottled up. I think he could have a great game, too, though. I mean, the problem with a lot of these matchups is that they can go one way or the other in such a diametric fashion. Like, Leonard Fournette could have a great game, or he could have a really bad game, or not play. LaShawn McCoy could have a great bounce-back game, or the Chargers can just shut him down. You know, Mike Evans could have a decent game, or the Philadelphia Eagles just take him out. Marvin Jones against San Francisco, that requires a quarterback to actually throw the ball to him and not get picked. Jack Doyle is now his new tight end with Greg Olsen gone. I think that's decent, although he's going against Washington Redskins cornerback, so kind of iffy there. Zaya Crowell against Miami Dolphins. He got he was promoted into the starting lineup. I think he has a decent matchup with that one. I project him at 116, but I'm being very generous, and I'm being very. I'm assuming that some of these players are both playing and that they're healthy and are going to have good performances. With Las Vegas, Andrew Luck is Andrew Luck. He's back. When he was healthy and not being decapitated because of his offensive line basically not sucking, he was diagnosing plays and slicing up opposing defenses. I expect that to continue. Saquon Barkley.
Savage.
Essentially, at some point in the game, he's going to break through. I don't know when. I don't know if it's in the first quarter. I don't know if it's in the fourth quarter, but it's going to happen. And against Dallas defense and their D-line, it probably is going to happen sooner than later. Bilal Powell against Miami Dolphins. Bilal Powell was actually out there as a pass-catching back last game. I think that's going to aid him. I don't think Devontae Adams is going to do well against Xavier Rhodes. I think he's going to get as many points as you can expect him to.
His socks.
I think Adam Thielen will have a great game against Green Bay because I think Stephon Diggs will be matched up in such a way that Thielen's just going to be wide open. Juju, I think, is going to have a great game, seeing how Kansas City will be so terrified of Antonio Brown that Juju, just by virtue of the terror of Antonio Brown and him getting open, will himself get open and score. I have them to edge Gotham. Las Vegas takes this 119 to 116.
We here at the press.
Jesus.
This is as big as blowout as you can ever see. This is the number one ranked team going against the last ranked team in the fantasy. In both our rankings, the Associated Press and the Power, or what are your rankings called, Ariel?
My
FTPO,
rankings?
your rankings?
I don't have rankings.
Someone has rankings. They're dead last.
Yeah, GTFFL.
Yeah, Andrew Luck, 30-point game. Saquon Barkley, 30-point game. Bilal Powell, modest 10-point game.
They're just throwing out numbers now.
No, 70 points. Devontae Adams, 20 points.
Did you just say 70 points?
No, I'm counting the total. 90 so far. Thielen, 20 points. That's 110. And Njoku, 10. It's 120. Juju Smith-Schuster, 25 points. That's 145. The Miami D. We switched up the defense.
You do not believe in empiricism in any way.
165. We see this at 165 to a 30 points. It's a wrap. Go play baseball.
Did you say 30 points?
Yes, 30 points.
So you're just going to give him 30 points.
30 points, all from Mike Evans and Matthew Stafford and Isaiah Crowell. Split them up.
I don't even know why I bother.
So we're going to give this to Las Vegas, 165 to 30 points. This is the biggest blowout in fantasy football history.
Yeah. Okay, whatever. Next matchup. This one's going to be a fun one. Another divisional rival game. Team Grizzly Bears looking to bounce back against another newcomer, Left Out. I think it should be a pretty good game. This is not only that. Keep in mind that week 2, the theme for the week is highest scoring quarterbacks. I think everybody has a good chance of winning that pot this week, just based on either the quarterback that they have or the matchup that their quarterback has this week. So this one in particular is going to be another one of these guys could end up winning that pot, especially. I have Team Grizzly Bears to win in a close contest. I think that Ben Roethlisberger will have a good game against Kansas City. This is at home too, right? I believe Pittsburgh. So I typically does well. Kareem Hunt should have a bounce back game against Pittsburgh. I cannot envision a scenario where Tyreek Hill does the same exact thing he did last week. I think that is just nuts.
I can see it.
I think Kareem Hunt and Tyreek Hill eat this week against Pittsburgh. I think they both have great games. We already seen AJ Green go just nuts today. I mean, absolutely incredible. 29 total points. 3 touchdowns. This is ridiculous, man. I think Carlos Hyde has an okay matchup with New Orleans. Good, not great. Jimmy Graham possibly has a bounce back game. If Aaron Rodgers could get to the red zone against Minnesota, I expect Jimmy Graham to actually, be present in the offense in some, discernible way. So look for Jimmy Graham to actually, earn his money. Nelson Aguilar, I think, has a decent game. I think he has an okay game. As far as Left Out, Tyrod Taylor, he's a black Alex Smith, basically. The only difference is that the way he manages the game is that he doesn't throw any picks, and then he'll go for a deep ball every now and then.
He's got some running yards too.
And some running yards. Yeah, he'll chuck a deep ball like once every other quarter. In some way. Maybe once a game, but he does do it.
He had 77 rushing yards.
Yeah, and he rushes the ball, yeah. I expect him to have a decent game. Todd Gurley is going to go off. That is going to happen against Arizona. There is nothing they can do about it. Le'Veon Bell's absence means James Conner is still in the lineup. Another great game from him. Now showing that he can not only run behind that great offensive line, but he can also catch like Le'Veon Bell if they need him to, which is only going to further up the score for Left Out. Marquise Goodwin, this is a big if. If he's in the lineup, I think he does well. I think it means that he's good enough to play.
It was questionable.
If he doesn't play, then obviously we have to factor in his absence and boost someone up from the bench. But it appears Marquise Goodwin is going to be started by Left Out. I think if he's healthy, he'll do well against Detroit. Josh Gordon should have a decent game against New Orleans. Jared Cook did pretty well in his opening week. I'm not high on him.
The only good player.
Basically, if it continues in that fashion, then that's not a bad thing against Denver Broncos. Jay Ajayi against Tampa Bay, I think he does pretty well. And I think the Vikings defense hold off Aaron Rodgers from going crazy. But I still have Team Grizzly Bears to bounce back and give Team Left Out their first loss of the season.
Oh,
I have them winning 128 to 116. Thoughts?
This is the second disagreement.
Second disagreement.
Or the first one was Matt beating Mitchell Rios.
All right.
We see this as left out. Yes, they're already in a hole with the 29 points with AJ Green and the home field advantage, but you cannot deny Todd Gurley, James Conner, Jay Ajayi, Derrick Henry might bounce back. He has Marshawn Lynch. He has just too much depth. Quarterback depth as well. He can choose between Patrick Mahomes and Tyrod Taylor. I don't know. We ranked him pretty high in our rankings. We see this as a win for Left Out. I think he continues his ascension to greatness. I think he's going to go to the playoffs. Grizzly Bear, your time's up, man. Sorry. We're going to do this. We're going to do 130 to 125. Left Out.
Arbitrary numbers.
130, 125. Increments of 5.
Oh, that's how it works. Okay. Is that how the rankings work, too?
The rankings are objective. They are based off certain things.
They are.
Well, maybe 2 or 3 teams. There is some bias. 2 or 3 teams. The rest of the teams deserve what they get.
Okay, this brings us to our final matchup of the week. America's Game of the Week as chosen by the great Commissioner Mitchell Goodell. I'm pretty excited for this one. This is going to be fun. As aforementioned, the great Miguel Reyes of Team Reyes.
Man, the hype.
And Tom Norman's very own Dark Horse.
2 teams, the winning record.
Yeah.
2 highly ranked teams.
2 undefeated teams. So it's only been 1 week. So someone's already going to lose that. But they both had memorable performances. Like I said, there's a lot of hype coming with Dark Horse. Tom Norman is definitely making himself known. Just from his play. Very impressive win. Team Reyes, I mean, this is like just the out of nowhere coach who debuted last season. Really made a splash last year.
In case you guys didn't know, I just want to say Team Reyes won a game without a quarterback. He had Antonio Brown score like 60 or 50 points. He did not need Aaron Rodgers that year.
He didn't need him that year. He has Tom Brady this year.
This year he has a reliable quarterback. Well, not that Aaron Rodgers.
He definitely cares about having like
multiple quarterbacks
and like consistently high play from the quarterback position.
Yes.
Like so much so that I questioned the backfield again.
Yes.
But having said that, Team Reyes and Dark Horse, this is going to be a close match. This is probably going to be the most back and forth match that we see. To make it short, I have Team Reyes to narrowly edge Dark Horse. I think they're going to win. I think Tom Brady is going to be Tom Brady. Like I said, shouldn't need to explain much. It's Tom Brady. Even against Jacksonville. If you guys forgot, they totally whooped their asses in the playoffs last year. All that Jalen Ramsey talk and shit, that all went out the corner as soon as Tom Brady entered the building. They sunned them. I don't expect anything to change. Tom Brady's going to do Tom Brady things. I think Ezekiel Elliott is going to run all over the Giants. I think T.Y. Hilton is going to have the great chemistry and connection that he always has with Andrew Luck.
T.Y. Hilton's been there for a minute too now.
Michael Thomas has just come alive. He kind of disappeared last year, just a little bit. He's definitely making his presence felt immediately already against Cleveland. Same old Browns that we always know. I expect them to get blasted.
These are the new Browns.
Jordan Reed has actually not gotten hurt yet.
If he's not hurt, he's good.
If he's not hurt, he's amazing. He's Jordan Reed. I expect him to get hurt at some point. It hasn't happened yet. Jordan.
There's some guys you expect.
There's some guys, yeah. He's one of them.
Too?
Yeah. I mean, Jordan Reed is.
A lot of the tight ends. Now that I think of it,
tight end is horrible. Jordan Reed and Tyler Eifert are the scariest tight ends to have. But
Greg Olson's already hurt.
Greg Olson's gone already for multiple weeks. Look,
punching bags.
if Jordan Reed is healthy and 100%, he's going to
Kittle.
be great. And he's going against the Colts this week, so I expect a great output. Mohamed Sanu will be the flex against Carolina. I think he does pretty good. I expect the Rams to feast against Arizona, the Rams defense. I have 119 for Team Reyes. Conversely, Dark Horse, Tom Norman. Here's what I want to get this out of the way real quick because I don't know how I feel about this, but you know how I feel. I don't particularly think highly of Deshaun Watson.
Oh, yeah.
I think there was a lot of hype for
him.
two particular quarterbacks this offseason. One of them was the great Jimmy Garoppolo. One of them was Deshaun Watson.
He got like 6 touchdowns in one game last year.
Okay,
man.
I just want to make this really clear. There is reason to believe that one of these hypes, like the hype of one of these quarterbacks, is warranted. That is for Jimmy Garoppolo. I can show you the stats to back up why I make the claim that I'm very comfortable with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy GQ, yeah.
Deshaun Watson, I cannot say the same thing about that. The kinds of throws he was making, the kinds of plays he was doing, who he was doing it against, the time of the game script, they don't support that that's going to continue. And it showed in the opening week. Now, keep in mind, that was against the Patriots. The Patriots always do that to quarterbacks, apparently. But, you know, I'm just saying. I say that to say this. Even though I'm not that high in him, he should be starting this week, not Case Keenum. And that's what's happening here. I think that ultimately is the reason why I'm giving the matchup to Team Reyes. I think that Dark Horse should be starting Deshaun Watson, and right now they're choosing, possibly based on the first week's performance, to put Case Keenum in instead. Before I go any further, is that a mistake?
No, I like
No.
Case Keenum.
You like Case Keenum.
I'm a Case Keenum
Even
fan.
against Oakland in a division game.
Oakland is garbage, man. Did you not see them?
These games are always ugly, though.
Oakland is ugly this year.
I mean, they kept
It's a
pretty
wrap.
close with the Rams. You were just bigging up the Rams' offense.
It's a wrap, man. We don't see it.
So you think it's fine, though?
I
That's
think Case Keenum is a fine replacement for Deshaun
Okay,
Watson.
all right. I just wanted to
think
throw
Dark
that
Horse,
out there. Melvin Gordon against Buffalo. Melvin Gordon went off. He'll go off again. I think Kenyon Drake, assuming that old-ass Frank Gore doesn't cut into his snaps.
He is going to come to us.
I think Kenyon Drake should do very well in this matchup.
They like...
The problem is they're trying to give Frank Gore a record or some shit. I don't know what they're
Gore
doing.
went to Miami. He's from Miami. He went to the
Okay,
U.
but you don't do that to a
Hometown
young
hero.
running back. Like, I'm
He's a
sorry.
hometown-
Look,
hometown
I love
hero.
Frank Gore.
Former
He
49
he
long
should be a
time
Hall of
49.
Famer. He's the man. But his old ass needs to sit on the bench and just wait to clean up.
Disrespecting Frank
I'm
Gore,
sorry.
man.
Kenyon Drake should be the guy. If he gets the snaps he should, he does good. DeAndre Hopkins is going to feast on Tennessee Titans. Brandon Cooks should have another good game against Arizona. It's kind of hard to tell with these Rams receivers because one week it could be Robert Woods that goes off and then Cooper Kupp of all people gets touchdowns. But I think Brandon Cooks is the guy that they're always going to keep targeting down the field. I think he can do that against Arizona. Evan Ingram against Dallas. He disappeared week 1. I'm assuming he'll actually do something this week, especially against Dallas, who's notoriously bad against the tight end. Kenny Galladay against San Francisco. I'm a little actually. I kind of agree with that matchup. I think Kenny Galladay might find himself going against someone like not a Kello Witherspoon, but maybe like a Kawan Williams. He can win that matchup, so he should do okay against it. I basically have who is it? Team Reyes to edge out Dark Horse. Like I said, the Keenum input, I think, is what does it for me. What do you think?
Well, we both have these teams really highly rated. We rate Team Reyes number 3, Team Dark Horse number 5. This should be America's Game of the Week. I think this is the highest 2 teams going up against each other this week. Team Reyes has a lot of hype. We buy the hype. We've been buying the hype all season. Tom Brady, Zeke. The only thing I'm kind of concerned of is this Royce Freeman guy. I watched that game. It looks like Philip Lindsay is a good running back. I'm not sure if they will continue to use Philip Lindsay instead of Royce Freeman. I need to see more.
Well, Royce Freeman he was the drafted running back, right? There was a lot of draft capital invested in.
But, I mean, they gave the ball to Philip Lindsay. It was split carries. It was 15 carries. Philip Lindsay got the touchdown. He got the catches.
I have it factored in that he's not going to have a particularly great game.
Royce Freeman, yeah.
So I do have that factored.
Jordan Reed's always great when he's healthy, like you said, Michael. Thomas last year was up and down, but he's going to get his points. We're not really worried about Team Reyes. They have depth. They have everything. Dark Horse, we're not worried about either. We are going to declare this. We're going to declare this. We don't know. We're gonna do a Brown Steelers thing. Wow. I'm sorry.
So you're pushed then.
We're gonna declare this a draw.
Okay, so push. Yeah. All right. We
don't
didn't
know.
think I'd ever get that from you.
These are two solid teams. I'm glad you picked this game of the week.
I think your rankings are influencing.
The only thing, Evan Ingram, I'm just not too sure about Evan Ingram. I know last year he was really good, but I mean last year OBJ was gone. They didn't have Saquon. They were just banged up. So I think Evan Ingram was one of their only pass catching options. DeAndre Hopkins should have a bounce back game. Well, he did pretty good. Kenyon Drake, Alabama running back, we love him. We don't know. We don't know who to pick, so we're gonna declare this a draw. The points, we'll do like a 125.
Okay. All
It's a
right.
draw. We don't know. It's a good game. We're gonna watch. We're definitely watching. You'll be watching. The fans will be watching. If this was a pay-per-view, I might watch. I might stream it. We might stream it. You'd stream it, right?
Is this a main event?
This is main event.
This is a main event right here, right?
Fight night.
All right.
Fight night stuff.
I like it. I'm surprised you went push, but I respect that. I suppose it is close.
It's close. I don't know.
It's gonna be close.
Like I said, it could come down to quarterback, one position. It might come down to tight end.
Yeah,
I don't trust Evan Ingram.
Too.
I don't trust Evan Ingram. The Rams defense, they proved what they can do. Tennessee defense, it might come down to defense. Their kickers are both solid. Greg Zuerlein got his points. Crosby's going to get his points.
Kickers don't count.
I count. I have a lot of games are won and lost by kickers in the NFL
really,
and in fantasy football.
Are they really though?
Yes. Well,
they don't have souls.
So we don't know. We think Reyes has the better team overall, but in this week, we don't know. So 125. We give Reyes a slight push.
So push.
Well, he's the home team. We'll give him the home team advantage. We'll pick Reyes. No, we're picking Reyes.
You're gonna pick Reyes?
Home team, but I'm saying he's only gonna win because he's.
This is interesting. This is a good point. There's only 2 games that are really close enough for my rankings that the home field advantage would come into play, but I don't factor that in yet. I suppose we should have did that, but honestly, we didn't have games that were this close. I didn't realize how close the Sacto and the Bear Island game was going to be to my numbers, and I didn't realize how close the America's Game of the Week was going to be to my numbers. But as far as home field advantage goes, Sacto has home field advantage this week, I believe.
Yes.
Which would mean they should edge out Bear Island, and I believe
Reyes has the home field.
Reyes has the home field advantage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and no, you are missing. Bear Island has home field advantage.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna stick with my push. I got to figure out a way to work in the home field advantage into these numbers.
Those 3 points matter, dude.
It does.
Points,
It didn't quite show up week 1, but it got there. It was dangerously close. And we're saying these games are going to be really close. So someone is going to fall victim to that this season in a way that they hadn't experienced in the first 2 years in this league.
Ouch.
We don't know who it's going to be, but it's going to happen. And according to us, it's probably going to be this week. So to review, I'm calling it a push with the Bear Island and Sacto.
Wait, push means tie?
Yeah.
So we have 2 ties? Damn.
Well, I called that tie. I'm not calling the other game tie.
Oh, okay.
You called that a tie.
What was your score for this game?
I had that 125 to 125 for the Sacto and the
What
Bear
about
Island.
the Reyes?
And you picked Sacto, right?
Yeah, I picked Sacto.
Okay, so we differed there.
Penetrate.
And then Team Shutdown and the Papi Chulos. We both picked the Papi Chulos, right?
Papi Chulos, yes.
Right?
Yeah. Papi Chulos.
Okay. With FTP and who was it? Team Karma.
We were at Karma.
We both took Team Karma, so we're the same there. And then we both took Las Vegas over Gotham.
I just chose a beatdown. 30 points.
And then we am I correct? We both took Team Grizzly Bears.
No, this is the one. I took Left Out. You took Grizzly Bears.
I took Team Grizzly Bears. You took Team Left Out. Okay. That's important to note. And then you went push on America's Game of the Week, and I'm saying...
No, we're going to give it to Reyes. You're going
to take Team Reyes then?
Team Reyes.
Okay.
Home field, just by home field.
Okay, so we're half and half.
Yeah.
We're half and half.
We deferred to.
Okay. Well, that's it for our podcast this episode. We'll be back on the air next week to discuss all these matchups, review them, and then look ahead to week 3. Is there anything we got for the audience? Any pieces? Anything coming up?
We released today our first piece, our first weekly piece titled Associated Press Top 25. It's kind of like the rankings that are already out, but more, like I said, aligned with head-to-head matches and what's going on in our league right now. And I do a little explanation of why I try to substantiate, why I pick a certain team over another team. But then now we watch out. We have another article working. We're bored at work, so.
and the rankings are weekly features.
Yeah, they're gonna be
What's
on this day, Thursday. Yeah.
Every Thursday.
And then the rest, we'll try to do next week like a Monday article just to start out, or no, a Tuesday. Tuesday's good because then that Monday Night Football's over.
I mean, it's your press.
Oh, that's true, huh?
It's your press.
We'll
see.
We're gonna figure this out. We have our own corner. We kept bugging
Tim's
the commissioner.
Corner. This is a new company, or
Tim's Corner. No, we have our own. We wanted to differentiate ourselves from obviously we are different than me.
This is your own private channel, then.
Yes, we also have a private channel. This was suggested by Las Vegas. It's just for winners. So any previous Super Bowl champs and current Super Bowl champs can post there. If you are interested in posting there, please send us a screenshot of your Super Bowl victory. Send it to the commissioner, and he will look it up and see if it's valid. And if it is, then you can post there. If you're not a champ, you can post there too. But I mean, you're not supposed to. So get out, Julian.
I guess.
He's on his way out.
You can find the Gridiron Beat magazine. It goes up every Wednesday. It was late this week. It'll be up every Wednesday. New issue for every regular season game of the week.
I remember this.
Also, Gridiron, like we said, the Gridiron Beat podcast will be up. Regular day is now Friday, late afternoon. And pretty much we're going to continue this. We're going to try and keep everything every week, new episode. Like I said, keep our print up. Magazine I have coming out. Tim, he's got his own thing, Tim's Corner, whatever he's calling it, that private channel. Like I said, that's Tim's thing. This is a collaborative effort right here, the podcast.
Is this the Associated Press? I guess this would be more of this.
You're gonna get sued, but because there's already an Associated Press. This is exactly why I'm saying I'm not affiliated with Tim Snowden. Ariel Mayoko.
You think we're that big?
I'm that big, goddammit. I'm that big.
That's what she said.
But anyway, we'll see you guys next week. Yeah, thanks for having us. Peace.